blanket me.
You can do your own blanket.
Thank you. Great. Just what I wanted.
Okay. All right. Today is rest and restore meditation. So, long guided meditation. I'm going to talk you through. Pay attention to my voice as much as possible, but also pay attention to the gaps in between. So sometimes the gaps in between are where the actual magic happens. So I will be with you throughout, kind of guiding you through. Give yourself permission to land in the room, to be present in this practice, but also if you drift off to sleep, give yourself permission to do that also. So allow your body's natural intuition, your body's natural knowing of what it needs to be the most important part of this practice. So maybe you do need to drift off to sleep. Maybe you need to be just slowly coaxed into relaxing so that your body can take what it needs. But also don't fear if you are asleep or if you think you've fallen asleep, because oftentimes you're just at that deep point of rest that you're supposed to get to, and you're not actually as asleep as you think you are. So try to let go of all of the shoulds and should nots. That's the biggest part of this. So one of the traditional ways to take this meditation is to lay down in corpse pose. If that's not 100% comfortable for you and you are more comfortable somewhere else in some other position, please find that position for yourself. But make sure that it's something that you can hold comfortably without fidgeting for a long time. And do take the time to take props. Kaylee has a bolster under her knees, so her low back is nice and soft. The backs of her legs are nice and soft. Her feet can feel the ground, so they're not flopping around in space. She has the feet on the ground. And she has her shoulders having support, so that all of the muscles that commonly hold a lot of tension are able to soften and release. So as you're starting to set up, try to take check-ins. Get to know where you commonly hold a lot of your tension. And really check in. Take a look at all of the muscles and really check in on how they are doing. If they're holding tension, try to let them soften. Try to get to know where you are in space. Really feel your body on the ground. And take in your environment. So we are in the studio and you can hear rock climbing, kind of using their tools and drills. So take in that noise. So oftentimes we have this desire to make a perfect, soft, wonderful space without interruption. However, the practice of meditation should help us and assist us in real life. And real life is noisy and full of interruptions. So you should be able to take yourself into an internal state of calm, even if you're sitting on a subway with all the noise of a subway train going around. So we practice this so that when things are most disruptive, we are able to find that inner calm. So rather than judging sounds around you as whether they should or should not be there, start to take them in. Start to take in the sounds and just notice them as a sound, just something that is. A sound that is. Of course, whenever I point it out, it's very quiet, but you'll notice it throughout the practice. Start to take in the sounds of your own environment. Maybe you have a noisy household or you live on a noisy street. Get to know the sounds around you so that you can start to turn off your fight or flight. So one of the reasons why we tense around sounds is it's our fight or flight instinct getting us ready to prepare for danger. So get to know the sounds around you so you can start to turn that off. Really take some time to hear the sounds around you. Make sure you take in a visual of your environment. Look around, see what is around you. Know where you are. And then as you really start to soften onto the mat and draw your eyes to a close, perhaps taking a moment to say to yourself, right here in this moment, all of my needs are met. So giving yourself a little talk, telling yourself that in this moment, it's okay to turn off, it's okay to switch off. And a little note, as you really begin to turn off fight or flight, your digestion may begin to gurgle and start, and that's a wonderful thing. So try not to let that startle you. It's kind of the goal of the whole practice. Like, get that rest and digest to really happen. And then take a note of your breath. Just notice. Notice you're breathing fast or slow into the chest or into the lower belly. Notice if you bring your awareness to your breath, you immediately start to force a nice slow breath. Notice, just take a check in, see how your breath is. And if you're particularly holding a lot of tension around your breath, perhaps taking a few deep breaths in, filling up your lungs, and sighing softly out of your mouth, as if you're just trying to get rid of any excess energy, letting things go. Try that a couple of times and then see how your breath seems to land. And if you're still struggling with a little excess energy, perhaps breathing in a nice cooling breath through a rounded mouth. So pursing your lips into a little circle, breathing in, and then sighing out. And then see if you can allow the muscles of the jaw and the face to really begin to soften. Soften any clenching of the teeth, soften the tongue and the mouth. And then we're going to practice single point focus with the mind, sending our awareness around our body. Trying to think of only the body part as we label it, as if you can find sensation there and be only that piece of your body that you're thinking about for a little moment in time. We'll begin with the right hand. Locate the right hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the right hand, back of the right hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Travel down the right rib cage, a rib at a time. Find the space between the rib cage and the hip. Right hip, thigh, kneecap, lower leg, ankle, heel, arch of the right foot, ball of the right foot, right big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Become entirely aware of the right side of the body, as if turning on the lights and arriving home on the right side of the body. Gently shift your awareness over to the left side of the body. Locate the left hand thumb, first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, palm of the left hand, back of the left hand, left wrist, forearm, elbow, upper arm, shoulder, armpit. Travel down the rib cage, a rib at a time. Locate the space between the rib cage and the hip. Left hip, thigh, kneecap, lower leg, ankle, heel, arch of the left foot, ball of the left foot, left big toe, second toe, third toe, fourth toe, fifth toe. Become entirely aware of the left side of the body. As if locating each and every cell on the left side of the body. And then we'll gently move through left and right sides of the body. Left foot, right foot, both feet. Left leg, right leg, both legs. Left hip, right hip, cross the hips. Left rib cage, right rib cage, cross the torso. Left arm, right arm, both arms. Left ear, right ear, the space in between the ears. Left eye, right eye, the entire face. And then bring awareness to the crown of the head, a little space that is soft when a baby is born. And imagine a softening here. And begin to connect with the spinal highway of energy that moves from the brain down the spine and then all the way back up, sending messages from the brain to the body and the body back to the brain. Imagining this energetic highway is a long tube of energy going running down from the brain down the spine. And then from this softening at the crown of the head, imagine you could develop a little trickle of energy reaching out. And just above you is a cloud of energy that contains precisely what you need in this moment. And try not to cognitively give that a name. Just think of an energy. Give it perhaps a color or temperature, or something visual that helps you imagine connecting to this energy, like plugging into an outlet. Recharging your own energy source from something just above you. Plugging in, you begin to feel the energy trickling down your spine, slowly trickling down, cleansing and refreshing. And as it trickles down the spine, it begins to trickle throughout the body, down to the tips of the fingers, down to the tips of the toes. Slowly refreshing and recharging. And then imagine gently unplugging your little plug for energy and returning just to thinking about that energetic highway moving from your brain down your spine and back. Imagining it being more full of life, fresh, free of misaligned bones, free of any holding patterns, just moving freshly up and down the spine. And then slowly draw your energy right to the top of the spine in the very center of the brain. Allow space for whatever is present here to be present here. Noticing that you can notice your thoughts. And then perhaps noticing a little space in between the thoughts. And here, if you have an intention, a truth vow that you wish to work with, you may whisper it softly to yourself as if whispering it inside to the deepest layers of your body. An intention or a truth vow is a little promise you're making to your most innermost self. For example, if I wish to work with self-worth, my truth vow would be, I am worthy. If I want to work with health, I am healthy. Make your vow short, simple, and in a positive statement. Staying away from the words not. And when you whisper it to yourself softly, say it with conviction as if you already know it true. Say it in the way that you would to a loved one. And we'll move on to a practice of opposites. So begin to fill up your body with a sense of heaviness. Feeling the heaviness of your bones, the heaviness of your limbs. Perhaps imagining that your whole entire body is becoming filled with lead. Toes become heavy, your feet and legs are heavy, fingers are heavy, shoulders are heavy, your head is heavy, feeling heavier and heavier, and more deeply rooted into the ground. Feeling so heavy that if a storm were to blow in, you couldn't possibly budge. You're so heavy and grounded. And gently invite in the opposite sensation of lightness. Imagining your body beginning to fill with air and softness and lightness. Fingers become soft and light. Legs and toes and feet soft and light. Torso is light. Your head is light. Feeling softer and softer and lighter. Perhaps even beginning to feel as if you could drift away on the softest breeze. gently see if you can fill up your body with both of these sensations at the same time. The sensation of lightness and the sensation of heaviness at the same time. And then return to that center point of the mind, allowing space for whatever is present to be present here. We'll move on to the energetic layer of the body. So we're going to use our imagination to help connect us to this concept of energy that moves throughout the body. And whatever helps you, think of this. Maybe you give it a color, maybe you give it a temperature, perhaps you give it something visual like a river flowing. Connecting to the energetic layer of the body, and just for a moment thinking about that layer just above the skin where we feel the temperature of a room, that layer of energy that's just around us that tells us when somebody is nearby, perhaps before we've even used our other senses to find them. That layer of energy that moves within us. We're going to move it with our imagination, with our intention, through the body, as if moving and cleansing and removing patterns and stress and strain by adding flow of cleansing energy. We'll begin by bringing our energy in through the sole of the left foot, drawing fresh cleansing energy up the left leg, across the hips, down the right leg, and out the sole of the right foot. Drawing in fresh energy and sweeping away things no longer needed. In through the left foot, up the left leg, across the hips, down the right leg, and out the sole of the right foot. Imagine this movement of energy is completely free of misaligned bones or holding patterns. Fresh, freely moving energy. Then gently see if you can switch the pathway your energy takes, drawing in energy this time through the sole of the right foot, up the right leg, across the hips, down the left leg, and out through the sole of the left foot. Drawing in fresh energy and sweeping away anything no longer needed. Gently sweeping in fresh energy and releasing tension. And then we'll move to the upper body. This time imagining drawing your energy in through the palm of the left hand, up the left arm, across the shoulders, down the right arm, and out the palm of the right hand. Drawing in fresh and sweeping away things no longer needed. And gently see if you can switch your energy channel, moving in through the right hand, up the right arm, across the chest, and down the left arm and out the left hand. Drawing in fresh energy through the right hand, up the right arm, and sweeping away whatever is no longer needed down the left arm and out through the palm of the left hand. And then allow your focus to land in whatever part of the body or perhaps the mind that it feels drawn to, and rest here just noticing what is present, observing. And then gently draw your awareness back to the center of the mind. And we'll go on a journey with our imagination. Try to paint in the details as clearly as possible, as if painting the most beautiful painting you've ever seen. Vivid details. Taking yourself away to the place that we paint in. So bring to mind a beautiful field of flowers. It can be somewhere that you know, or a painting that you've seen. Something that you felt was extremely beautiful, this field of flowers. And to paint in the details. Beautiful, bright flowers for as far as the eye can see. And in this beautiful field of flowers, you see a tiny path. And you're going to walk through this tiny path to the center of the field of flowers, where there's a clearing just large enough for you to lay down. See yourself laying down in this beautiful field of flowers, with flowers all around you, completely surrounding you. Notice the flowers all about you, and then begin to paint in the details of the ones closest by. Noticing differences in the flowers. Begin to notice butterflies fluttering about the flowers. Above you, notice soft, fluffy clouds and a brilliant blue sky. Perhaps you can begin to imagine little sunlight touching your skin. Perhaps you can imagine the smells of the flowers all about you. And the more that you paint in the details, the more that you seem to just melt into this scenery. As if you're no longer this one being laying down in this field of flowers. More and more a part of this scene in nature. And butterflies seem comfortable as they flit about, not noticing your presence as anything unusual. More and more, begin to feel at one with this scene in nature around you. And as thoughts or distractions come in, imagine attaching them to one of the little fluffy clouds far above you, and softly watching them just float away. And then returning to pointing in the details of all of the beautiful flowers. And repeating this process as often as necessary. Letting the thoughts and distractions float away. And then returning to this beautiful scene. Before returning from this beautiful scene in nature, whispering your truth vow, your intention. This is whispering it as a secret to the butterflies about you. Before leaving this scene, paint in one more time the beautiful details of the flowers, as if etching them into your memory so that you can return to this place, knowing that the more often you return to these sacred scenes, the more powerful, more peaceful, and more calming they become. And then we'll begin a journey of rapid visualization, practicing seeing things as they come to our mind, observing them without judgment and letting them pass by. Trying not to label, trying not to cognitively understand, but to visually see, observe, and then allow it to float by. We begin with a single blade of grass, leaves blowing in the wind, a single candle in a very dark room, a far distant planet, a herd of elephants, sand falling through your fingers, children playing in a playground, field of flowers, baby eggs in a nest, the face of a mentor, standing on top of a vast mountain, a sacred temple, sitting in meditation, see yourself sitting in meditation. Observe yourself sitting in meditation. then before coming back from this deep state of rest, whisper to yourself one more time your truth vow. And then as slowly as we went into the meditation, slowly and gently and softly, begin to return to the room. Connect to the parts of your body that are touching support. Perhaps feel the weight of the blanket or your clothing. Notice the temperature in the room, and then before becoming too cognitively alert, send your body into a stretch in whatever way your body's intuition leads you. Lengthen and strengthen and take any twists and turns. Let your body adjust from this deep state of rest and its intuition. Perhaps you'll feel some creaks and groans and stretches. Sometimes it's a magical time for the body to realign. And then gently and slowly draw a knee in at a time to the chest. Make your way over to a fetal position, curling up in a little teeny tiny ball. And taking a moment to stay in this position, feeling the room around you, beginning to alert your senses, bringing your sense of sound back into present moment in time, the room that you're in. And then taking a moment to really think about this position, the fetal position. Coming to this position to remind ourselves of a time in the womb when all of our needs were met. The time when we had not judged ourselves as positive or negative. We had not passed ourselves through the duality of life. We were simply a little spark of life. And when we come to this pose, we remind ourselves that that spark of life exists within us, unchanged by our experiences, waiting patiently for us to connect within. And without cognitively thinking about what that might be, think of what you might need or be ready to let go of. As if you could soften from your body, your mind, and your soul some of the burdens that you hold within. Perhaps some of those familiar negative patterns of thought or judgment that you take in your mind, especially those ones we use towards ourselves. Imagine them softening and landing on the mat. Releasing what is ready to be released. And then taking your time, come on up to a seated position. And bring your hands to prayer at heart space. And we connect with these familiar patterns in yoga to help solidify their strength, make them stronger. Make them more powerful, and the more often that we come to them, the more powerful they become, the more peaceful the more settling, the more grounding some of these familiar patterns become. So feel your hands at your heart space. Feel your left and right sides meeting in front of your heart, as if acknowledging that light within and acknowledging that you are whole and complete precisely as you are. That you are all of the layers, the physical, the mental, the emotional, the energetic, and the light within. May you know little love, light, and calm throughout your day. Thanks for joining us. Did we lose you, Kaylee? You sleep again? I heard you snore a little. So throughout the day, if anything you notice stirs up, sometimes these practices can bring to the surface what is ready to be processed. So try not to cognitively get stuck in anything that might come up. You might suddenly be drawn to laughter, or suddenly be drawn to tears, or something emotional, or maybe there's a physical tinge that you notice. All kinds of things can happen from a deep meditation practice. Try to let emotions flow. Emotions are a natural part of our world. They're supposed to flow freely, and they're only problematic when we get stuck in them, especially when we put our head down in the emotions and try too much to understand them. Let them flow. Let them be a part of the process. Try not to get stuck. The head. And if you are particularly struggling and you need some grounding, try going out and looking outside, seeing some nature, maybe grabbing a rock or something that reminds you of nature. Feel grounded. Hold it for a while. And there are lots of other little rituals that you might want to do. You can burn sage. You can do anything that kind of connects you to nature, to bliss, perhaps to your higher power. Something just to settle and calm. Maybe even just bringing your hands to prayer and settling and breathing and letting the emotion pass through. Thank you.